What's up, guys? This is Nathan here, the Rambling Kern and Kern School of Combat. So, what I want to talk to you about today is what makes collar and elbow collar and elbow. Now, for most people, you'll look at it and you'll see, oh, it's jacketed wrestling, it's judo, or something similar. Now, the one kind of key item of context that makes any style of grappling what it is the rule set really that it's fought under. Now, obviously for battlefield arts like traditional jiu-jitsu, for example, or ringen for those who study HEMA, it's a battlefield art. So obviously the context and the rule set there is really that there is none. It's kill that guy before he kills you. But when it comes to actual sportive combat, the likes of say Brazilian jiu-jitsu or judo, the rule set that you use very much governs how the style works and how it looks, and more importantly, the overall game and approach that you go at that art with. So what I want to do today is kind of guide you through the primary rule sets that were found within collar and elbow when it was being practiced, and what we are starting to work on for the modern rule set of collar and elbow, and how we now apply that to our own training within my own school and for future competitions that we hope to hold across Ireland, and hopefully all going well globally. So I'm going to run you through some of those, so I do hope you enjoy.
So it's important to note when it comes to the rule sets of collar and elbow wrestling that there were two earlier known rule sets, one coming from Vermont in the United States from 1856. Now, this was to be used in a tournament that was actually cancelled at the time due to a outbreak of some disease. And in the book, The Magnificent Scufflers from 1959, there was reference to a rule set used in the 1870s that was referred to as the Dufer Rules. Now, as to whether or not um, that rule set was common, we don't know, but there's also no actual record of those rules. So, more importantly, we don't know if those rules were actually practiced or what the actual contents of those rules are. However, we do have from 1873 the earliest known set of rules, which are referred to as the Ed James rules, named after the wrestler Ed James. And these are set out as 12 basic rule sets that are what we then came to characterize collar and elbow as. And it's also was kind of the agreed upon standard for the majority of collar and elbow bouts held across the United States of America in its 19th century heyday. And I will introduce those to you now. So the 12 Ed James rules read as follow. Number 1. The men shall wear knit shirt and short coat or jacket, not extending below the hips, with strong collar and elbow for grasp of the opponent, and thin rubber soles on the feet. Number 2. Each man shall take hold of the collar of his opponent with his right hand, while with his left he must take hold of his elbow. Number 3. Both men shall stand up breast to breast with limber arms, and shall fare in equal play. Number 4. Either man who shall break his hold with one or both hands to save himself from a fall shall forfeit said fall. Number 5. Kicking the limbs or privates is strictly prohibited, and of the offence of forfeit of the contest. Number 6. The falls must be square back falls, or 2 hips and 1 shoulder, or 2 shoulders and 1 hip to strike the ground or floor to constitute a fall. Number 7. Striking upon the face, side, or knee is no fall, and nothing shall be allowed for forcing a man into such position from his back. Number 8. Going down on one or both knees is fair, as long as both men keep their holds. Number 9. No butting shall be allowed under any circumstances. Number 10. Not less than 10 or nor more than 20 minutes rest is allowed between each wrestling bout. Number 11. The match shall be first fall, best 2 in 3, or 3 in 5, according to stipulation. Number 12. The ring is to be 24 square feet. Now, I did also briefly want to discuss the Kildare Rule Set. Kildare was the epicenter of Irish collar and elbow wrestling at the time, and many of the great champions hailed from there. The one main difference between the Kildare Rule Set and what became known as the Dublin Rule Set was that any single part of the opponent's body to touch the ground above the knees was counted as a fall. So, unlike the Dublin Rule Set or the Ed James Rule Set that I read to you earlier, if the opponent's knees or anything above were to touch, it was counted as a fall. Whereas with the Dublin Rule Set, anything usually being the shoulders or shoulders and a hip, or both hips and a shoulder, if they were to touch the ground, that was counted as a fall. Whereas within the Kildare Rule Set, it was anything above the knees. So one of the most unique rules within collar and elbow, which really is what defines the art and how it looks visually, but also how the art itself functions, is rule number 3 within the Ed James rules, that both men shall stand breast to breast with limber arms and show fair and equal play. So essentially what this means is that you stand in an upright posture, you're not crouched forward, for example, as we see here in this picture of Greco-Roman wrestlers, or we're not crouched forward as you would see, for example, in something like a common sport jiu-jitsu upright stance. Or one thing that you will also not see is stiff arming an opponent, because it calls for loose and limber arms. So stiff arming, which is a common tactic within judo, would not be something that would be allowed within collar and elbow. So this alone in itself creates quite a unique set of rules, and also quite a unique approach and visually a very different style of grappling. Now in my research for this video, I did also come across this picture of Shigeru Kano and his student Kaiuzo Mifune actually doing a demonstration picture of the correct upright posture for judo, which as you can see is quite similar to what we are looking for within collar and elbow. The topic of judo, often a lot of people would not associate large turning hip throws with Western and European grappling arts. However, we do see what was often referred to as the flying mare, being described as an explosive high impact hip throw that would send the victim's feet flying up in the air over his head, as you can see from this image from the time. And as you can see written below, be that fair back or no. Coming back to the rule set of, was that a fair fall, flat on the back or not? So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, part of what we're currently doing is creating a modern rule set for collar and elbow. Things such as weight categories, timed bouts, and standardized jackets. Now amazing work has been done by Mr. McFadden over at collarandelbow.ie in order to create a modern rule set for the discipline. And part of what my group has been doing has been road testing these rules and helping to find modifications and tweaks in order to make sure that the rules do match and represent collar and elbow as the discipline. Now, as my group is one of the only ones currently training in Ireland and also the only in Dublin, one of my ambitions is to see competitions return to where they were originally held, such as the Hollow in Phoenix Park. Now, if this is something that interests you, we will be doing more videos on it, and I will also be doing videos on this historic location as well.
So guys, that was a little run through of the rules and the overall game and kind of meta of collar and elbow wrestling. I do hope you enjoyed it. Over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be breaking out a bit of sparring footage and a little bit more of the ins and outs of what collar and elbow is and how it works. Now, I do hope you enjoyed that video. If you actually want to come and train in collar and elbow, the details for my school is down below, and I'll also put the details for collarandelbow.ie, run by my good friend Ruan, and you'll be able to find schools all across the world who are getting set up to teach this style. Now my own school also does teach traditional Irish forms of fencing, as well as Ballarat, the traditional styles of Irish stick fighting. So if you're interested in those as well, feel free to drop me a message and come along to a class. And I will also be doing videos over the coming weeks and months covering those disciplines and what makes them what they are. So I do hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching, and feel free to share this video and give us a like, comment, subscribe, all that carry on. Thank you very much guys, and have a good week. Slán.